Hello friends, this is Hedda. I know this video is a bit late and that's not ideal, but listen, my phone broke in the beginning of June, and since I use my phone to film videos and take pictures for Instagram, I simply couldn't make this video until I got a new phone. Well, I still don't have a new phone, but I was able to borrow one to make this video, so at least it's out before July starts. Dedication. This video is kindly sponsored by rustico.com. I will talk more about Rustico later in the video, but you guys already know how much I love their notebooks. I uploaded this month's printable journaling kit and sticker sheet to my Patreon last week, so that has already been up for a while. If you'd like to check it out, please follow the link in the description box. The journaling kit for July consists of 4 sheets, and I hope you'll enjoy the color palette. I really couldn't decide on a theme for this month, but I knew what kind of color scheme I wanted. I bought this 6-pack of Sakura Koi coloring brush pens because I've never tried them before and I wanted to test them out. And for most of these spreads I'm using my fine liners from the Leader in the sizes 0.8 and 0.5. I really like to use these for drawing. Alright, let's start with the cover page as usual. Since June has been a little bit stressful because of this whole phone situation and some other health issues, I decided to go for a more minimal setup this month. I couldn't really decide on whether I wanted a floral theme or a coffee theme, so I ended up mixing them. Therefore, these spreads are inspired by iced coffees and white hydrangea. My mom used to have big hydrangeas in the garden and they looked so fluffy and pretty. When I lived in Japan, hydrangeas meant the rainy season was approaching, and so hydrangeas always give me really good associations. You'd think that these flowers are hard to draw, but when you get up close, each tiny flower is actually not that complicated. So as long as you're able to draw the simple flowers in a rough circle, you're pretty much good to go. On the right page of the spread, I used the pink brush pen to make a roundish shape, and then I used the same thick fine liner to letter July. I went over it one more time to make the line a little bit thicker, and then I felt the spread was missing something, so I used the other brush pens to make some shapes over the hydrangea, and I think it turned out quite nice. The next spread is my calendar spread for the month, which I sometimes like to call a dashboard when I make the calendar a little smaller and rather focus more on goals and tasks. You'll have seen me make this kind of spread before if you've watched my videos from the last year or so. Instead of using a brush pen to letter the titles July and this month, I used a fine liner because I thought using a brush pen in addition to the kind of bubble letters I create the subheaders with would be competing for attention in a way. As you can see, the left page is separated into goals, reminders, and tasks, with tasks having the most space, and I sincerely hope I'll have more tasks than goals this month. On the right page, I made a calendar that takes up roughly half the page, with each box being 3 by 3 squares or 1.5 centimeters by 1.5 centimeters. Below the calendar, I have a section where I can write down important dates, and the idea is that I can color code and or write everything I need in the calendar, as well as writing it below it. And this will all make more sense when I fill it in, so make sure you follow me on Instagram to see that. To be honest, I wasn't too impressed with the Sakura Koi brush pens. I mean, I wasn't expecting them to be amazing, but I was hoping for something a la Tombow dual brush pens, but they didn't feel as rich in color and not as smooth as the Tombow brush pens. I probably won't buy more of these, but it was fun to test them anyway. Okay, so up until this point, I felt pretty good about these spreads, and then after this, things kind of started falling apart. I should mention that my glue tape broke right before filming this, so I didn't have the opportunity to go buy a new one, and I really needed it to be able to use the printables. So through the rest of this video, I'm just struggling to get glue tape onto the paper a little bit at a time, and it was so frustrating. Anyway, on the left page here, you'll see my mood tracker in the form of a 1 line a day. This means I'll write down how I feel every day, and I consider this one of the better ways to track your mood. I actually made a whole video on mood trackers this spring, so feel free to check that out. On the right page, I made a habit tracker. I was really conflicted about how I wanted it to look, and I really wanted to incorporate some printables into the spread. I ended up going with 3 mini calendars and some more printables in the right column for decoration. You can see me really struggling with the glue tape dispenser here. I'm so upset with it. You know, they cost so much, and then most of the time they are terrible quality. Next time I'll just buy some good old-fashioned double-sided tape. I'm not sure how I feel about the spread, since it was suddenly a lot less minimal than I had intended, especially since I decided to add more and more to the page. But it still uses the same color scheme, and the left page won't look so empty once I get to writing. You know, while filming this, I kept thinking I wish I'd printed these on label paper like I so often do, but this particular month my printer decided to be messy and all of my test prints came out horrible, even though I kept cleaning the ink heads over and over again. So I ended up printing everything at my local library, which is finally open, and it has really good laser printers. Before we get into the first weekly spread of the month, I'd like to give a big thank you to RUSTICO.com for sponsoring this video. RUSTICO is a Utah-based company which makes gorgeous notebooks and journals, both bound and traveler's notebook style. I use 3 of RUSTICO's notebooks regularly, as I keep my travel journal, reading journal, and plant journal in different journals from RUSTICO. I hope you check out their website, and who knows, maybe your next journal is waiting for you there. Alright, let's move on to the last spread I'm making in this video, and the first weekly spread of July. Depending on your summer situation, you might not need a full weekly spread, but I think it's really nice to have a good overview over the week so that I know exactly what is happening and when I'll have time for what. A lot of people, including me, are still working and trying to enjoy the summer at the same time. I made some room to write down tasks and events for each day, and then I used the left sidebar to write down my goal for the week and some tasks that aren't day specific. Oh, and the 27 is there because this is the 27th week of the year. On the right page, I did the same, except the sidebar contains a reminder that I wrote to myself, and that is that it's okay even if things don't go exactly as planned. I have a tendency to get very flustered and upset if things don't go exactly as I planned them, and it's causing a lot of stress for both me and those around me. So I'm trying to remind myself that the world won't end even if plans change. The last thing I did was to add some finishing touches to the spreads, and then I decided that I had spent enough time on these spreads and it was time to get outside and enjoy some sun and seawater. No matter where you are in the world, I hope you're safe and happy. I know that a lot of people aren't, and the description box contains some very helpful links in case you want to educate yourself on some of the most pressing issues happening in the world today, from the Black Lives Matter movement in the US to the crisis in Yemen. So while you enjoy this final flip through, I hope you're all having a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!